Good afternoon, the Vice Chancellor, will be presented by, Professor Richard Goalkeeper, the Registrar, Dr. Timothy Ajay, the Librarian, Dr. Emmanuel, who the agencies of St. John's and Daily campuses, and all professors here present. I also acknowledge one of the friends who are well seated and supervisor, Professor Joel, AMDG from the University of Port Harcourt. I want to start the existing protocol, ladies and gentlemen. Vice Chancellor, this afternoon, I'm here before you to present the topic Geosystems Life Expectancy. At times we begin to wonder what does things really mean. But we need to answer this question so that we get to where we want to get this afternoon. Traditionally, the central is the relationship between man and his environment. And it's very sensitive. If you look at the left, right, or front of man, with the southern and the city characteristics. And that points to the fact that the cities of the earth, locations are unique and locations are different. They stand out by their peculiarities. And we can group the characteristics of what we see in our peaceful environment under the leaf system, which have to do with the soil, do with the rock system, and do with mineral structure. We also have the atmosphere, the wind system, and we have the hydrosphere, the water we find in groundwater, surface water, ocean, lake, sea, and all other ecological systems. And we have the biosphere, where man belongs. The billions or trillions of microorganisms, megaorganisms, plants, and animals, and man himself. We also have one thing that is unique about how we live in the space of the earth. Daily, we eat food, either processed food or natural food from tree. And what we eat has an impact on how long we live. And that is why we're talking about the biochemical cycles, or about the chemical synthesis. We have minerals, nutrient cycles. The hydrocyclic process of being picked up at one point of the ecosystem, drop at another point, get into the food web, and then the food chain, and end up with us. And that talks about the phosphorus cycle, the hydrogen, carbon, and most importantly, the water cycle. And you can discover that all these pass through and several others pass through a cycling process. And the primary aim is to sustain life on the face of the earth. You also discover that we need to talk about each of the four major components of man's physical environment. I want to talk about the geosystem process. We have volcanicity. All things come about the volcanic process. And during the process, we can have an exclusive or an intrusive rock system. And that rock system passes through a process of lightning, where you have places of the ocean, and for it they be poured into the soil to improve the soil fertility and the agricultural concept. But there is a very critical component of aspect, which is mining. In the different data over 60 days, we'll be talking about oil around mining. In parts of the world, you have several minerals, so many minerals that will be very better. And that creates a problem for the ecosystem. It creates a problem of changing soil chemistry. It creates a problem of solving water quality. There was a situation in Zamfara a few years ago where children go busy drinking street water that was flowing from a mining area, and they died, all of them died as a 14 of the night as a result of lead poisoning. So what we're trying to explain is that the very processes have a way of impacting on us depending on how it is handled. And that also creates a lot of environmental and health hazards. When something is wrong and it enters into the food chain, it affects us because we pass through the process of bowel and pigmentation in our body system. I want to quickly talk about the hydrophilic process. The ocean, the rivers, the lakes, and the groundwater are components of the hydrospheric system, the hydrosphere. And through solar radiation, there is ever transpiration. So, vapor rises to the atmosphere, clouds form, rain comes. But also discover one thing. At times, the distribution of rain will not be uniform across the surface of the earth because of several factors like continentality, the prevailing air mass or wind system, and the seasons of the year. So drought may come. When drought comes, food security becomes a challenge to everybody. People have died. We have children died of starvation as a result of drought in East Africa. So you discover that outline depends on food availability, food security, and food quality and energy quality time. You also discover that soil water is there as a result of the hydrospheric processes of agriculture. Flood is another hazard that comes with rain, both in urban and non-urban areas. And there are several deaths that have resulted from flood hazards around the world, both in developing and underdeveloping areas of the world. And now please lead to what we call ecosystem disruption. Ecosystem services cannot be sustained and species death, including man, are possible. And let's look at the atmospheric processes. In Earth's space, times you say, oh, that piece was cool or hot. We're talking about the wind system. And the wind system helps control the system. And at times the wind system, as a result of pressure differences, as a result of high pressure and low pressure beds across the system, will also create all the extreme weather conditions or extreme weather activities. So you can see storm, you can see a tornado, you can see a cyclone, depending on which part of the world you are in. And all these will lead to death if your plan on each part and you don't take protective measures. Destruction of properties. I think it's called the wind system becomes a victim of constant mobility. Remember some few years back, Suits was with you and I in Pataka. It does not care who was a professor. It does not care who was a big man. It does not care who was not educated or who was a governor. Because when it gets into the system, the wind system, people are designed to win. So, it gets to you. A lot of us will never feel our hygiene to clean our clothes, and we discover the color change to black. A lot of us can discover that we use a white cloth to clean tables in our rooms and offices, I will discover that I was betrayed because of that. Also remember what happened during the Harmattan season. You see dust in your home. You see asthmatic disease is spike in it because of dust in the air. That dust is coming from over 2,000 kilometers. The cold wind we see in Harmattan that goes over southern Europe, southern is eastern is there, and even part of the Mediterranean, and blow across the Sahara. And we find it in our home over 2,000 kilometers away. Let's to tell you the extent that wind pollution or air pollution will go. Wherever the direction of the wind is, we see it there. Let's also look at the next slide, quickly, because I have some very important things to say. And we look at the downstream processes. Where plants, micrograms, macrograms, microorganisms, animals, including man. But there's something we need to understand. Everybody eats something from these particular components of the human environment. All of us, in the past 24 hours, we've taken either meat, chicken, fish, or any other protein like that. We've eaten vegetables and several other things because they belong to the realm of life. But we discover that when these components feed on the polluted soil, feed on the polluted water, then we discover that the fish or the plant is not healthy. Our bodies who plant vegetable and waste, abandoned waste or dumpster, and we pour the vegetable to elaborate analysis, and we discover a lot of leeches and several other dangerous chemicals in the vegetable. They look greenish. They look wonderful, but this is better. Vice versa, I want to say that these are tangled in our ecosystem. And because when they get into the food web, and we keep on eating, the process of our accumulation started. The rate of cancer is increasing. The rate of several other things is multiplying. What actually is the problem? The problem is with what we eat and the kind of environment those things are grown. Oftentimes we have aquaculture. Fishes are grown with artificial fertilizer. And within 60 days, a little bigger will be as fat and weight as much as 1 week. The magic of multiplying food, and there is a chemical. So that process also, in the summer time, they discharge water. That water is having a problem. It's causing neutral depletion. It's causing trouble in the waterways. It's causing the problem of biological oxygen demand deficiency. And also causing the problem of chemical oxygen demand deficiency. Or that is the end with our port. Not the end with our port. What are we doing with it? Because we eat. Because we are hungry and we need it. And that is affecting how long we live because of what we do, because of what is available, because of the environment, how we damage the environment, and what is available as crops, as animals, or as plants, or as food. So all that is creating a problem for the ecosystem. Most of our ecosystem are not meeting up the task of supporting life. Because of several things. Look at the issue of stability disrupted, there are minor insects and mega insects that into the pollination process. At times of year, we say, crops don't do everything. It's because the pollination process of most plants have been interrupted by the activities of other pollutants and other components of the biophysical environment. Let's look at the component science and technology. We have several innovations in science that has come into our food web. And we have the GMO. The GMO are genetically modified organisms. You see, they are natural processes of reproducing what we eat. And when these natural processes are modified as a chemical or some biotechnological procedure, they don't properly fit into our life system because they are, ions. They are strange. It was not in the natural procedure of how we live and do our thing. So that becomes a problem. And that is also seen that from science and technology we have a lot of problems of fuel. We use, some later, NPCs to tell us that we need over 20 million liters of petroleum in this country every 24 hours. And if that is our daily consumption, let's take a break in our neighborhood or in the cities where we live or the country. We have a case of the small generator, maybe a young man, God bless, not a small generator, put it in the toilet pipe of his self-contained and goes swimming. And he wake up not on earth, he wake up in the following day because of carbon monoxide poisoning from one small generator. Why? Because there is no space for the gas to escape. Then, if we burn 33 million liters of petroleum, and maybe 20 liters of diesel, and maybe 5 liters of kerosene in every 24 hours, that is approximately over 50 million liters. The end result is coming to the air. And what is coming to the air is coming in a quantity that is not so concentrated to keep within 24 hours. But when it gets into your stream, your lungs, it reduces the quantity of oxygen that your body can carry. And instead of the hemoglobin of the red blood cell, our system is carrying a deoxyhemoglobin, and that is affecting cells health, and that is affecting life and how long we can live. Why we live slightly longer than the man follicles or petrol in an enclosure is just because of the concentration in the air. Let's also look at air pollution. Industrial activities, domestic activities, farming activities, wood logging process, and several other things we do, even natural processes, generate air pollution. And one good thing about air pollution is that we may not see the harm coming to you. Anywhere you place your nose, it blocks a quantity of is present in the air. It could be so odorless, colorless, and everything and it's affecting the little cells that sustain tissues, that sustain organs, and make the human system more efficient. What are nuclear activities resulting from science? And what are radioactive isotopes of category. You know, when the book was dropped in Japan, has come out as 1945. That site today is not free from radioactive. No matter the hours have been spent and the time they have spent. And several things are pushing for nuclear procedure or peaceful or military purposes. They have the planning on how long we need. I want to quickly talk about man, the enemy from within. Vice Chancellor, before coming here, I tried this. Why did I try this? I discovered that we have a audience this afternoon. And practically everybody listening to me. It's an office. Whether you drive a car or you use a generator, or you mismanage waste, or you are clearly to the personal function, you are contributing to the environmental crisis. And because you have taken action in the past, the first phase of our is to have time from the call to allow me at a time so that when I catch we begin to process the matter. Are you scared? Are you scared? No, okay, yeah. We'll talk about the enemy from within. We do it like this. You are 100% praise for yours. We end up being surface water and streams. We use it as fertilizer to boost productivity, which also affects our health, creating alcohol, utilization, carbon, chemical oxygen demand issues, and avoidance of oxygen demand issues, then deforestation, then wetland technique, affecting groundwater, because wetland upstream is what will charge groundwater. I want to find it to how things are open. It is not that the level of extraction of carbon is not matching up with the level of preparation, and that is creating the crisis in the human environment. What is the urbanization? Everybody wants to live in the city. We also discovered that the urban city is hotter than the rural area. There is no urban peace island. So the urban areas are like peace island. And we discovered that ourselves cannot function optimally under certain peace conditions. But that is where we choose to live because of what we do. So that is a lot of industrialists, a lot of transport. With that airline in the sky, vice versa. How can I identify a lot of things said that will do that on top of our life? I therefore put across to each and every one of us the new theory of environmental resilience, of environmental survivability, of the school how we can live better, longer, and comfortable. In contemplating how the journey will go, I remember that the Niger Delta has been an epicenter of environmental crisis in the Nigerian nation state. And when I also look at the Niger Delta, I discovered that the Ogoni people have also been at the center of, drumming support that led to the United Nations Environmental Report for the Ogoni people by extension the United Nations. So I went to the Ogoni Native Lab to read the word, and I now mentioned the theory, the Oku Hyginus theory of environmental Why should we talk about the Oku Hyginus? It's because at every point there's something you do which you want not to. And the Oku Hyginus is only by saying, don't do it. Say, don't do it. If you see that tree, we affect the ecosystem, don't touch it. And something that's talking about regulatory agents. It's talking about ethical behavior. Because most of the pollution, the decisions are taken at the level of the man. In the house, personal decisions are taken. In the office, personal decisions are taken. And when these decisions are taken, it affects everybody. And when it affects you, it affects us in different ways. It affects us by affecting the food what we eat, the quality of what we eat, and the air we breathe in, and the water we drink. Temporary. If there is a hydrocarbon pollution of groundwater, I don't think that 100% of us here cook with the tap water in our house. And the groundwater is polluted. There's a little shade of hydrocarbon on the surface of the groundwater. At times, it is so insignificant that your eyes may not catch it. So, if you want to see that with groundwater, a little of it is burning. Why do you eat that? You put in the air, you put in the soup. Your cooking paste, right? And so much the water substance, the whole food is not the whole food is not. And if we which you want to that will affect you because it's not what we spend, we can live longer. You look at the life expectancy. In Europe, in the US, and also in Japan, you discover that it is by far better than Nigeria. Because a lot of persons do. But the way is that we should have it, we should carry it. And because the country is implementing that, then the society right, is not quite is getting life sustainability and living long age, being fulfilled, and things are pleasant place for them, so my friend in Nigeria as a whole, we need to do some propagation movement. And before I want to tell the people so like something. Yeah. We will know that we can and don't do it that way. Provide WhatsApp. I want to put across my audience. You can live like the seven, you can live like the point of our environment is enhanced. I want to say that no matter the breakthrough in science and technology, no matter the breakthrough is not helping because even the best all the courses, business activity, with all the money in the world, when we begin to have this, management become a crisis. Maybe part of the world, they're still having a mindset. That's why we must be careful that our ecosystem must internalize and make on this note, I want to say thank you for your friends, I will not be able to mention kind of words. One has been known one is 16 years old, and I've just before, I see the cases of other times I guess, and realize that more than realize that beat me after that. So, on that note, I want to say that I appreciate the right to really present by professional national giver. But before that, I appreciate all the right who gave me the grace and the right, the spirit, who are giving me the spirit, who are strength, the life. We also give me the spirit, and all that, against my journey, yes. I want to also appreciate the professors in the lab, all the professors in the lab, most especially my father of geology, everyone has a father, but I have a father, and he was an assistant supervisor at the PhD level. And I am Professor Georgia B. I also want to acknowledge some of my very wonderful friends. My assistant Bishop who is sitting at I also want to acknowledge the and all the people who are present to come on. There is one woman, the wife of a brothers. And I hope we can I don't know how I get and I say to everyone, if you don't like anything for our people, so, my friend, Dr. Mani, I also want to acknowledge Dr. I also want to acknowledge I also want to acknowledge Professor Simon. I also want to acknowledge so many students. And there is an actor from the family of Perry. I have SS akan dibahas. Kalau ada yang misalnya kalau ada